Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what you do if your dam drops. What does that mean? If your dynamic advanced multiplier on your cobb accessport, whether you're running an off-the-shelf tune, a pro tune, an e-tune, we're going to talk about what you need to know, what you need to do, and how to address whether you got a big problem and whether or not really you should be worried if your dam is dropping. I'm going to tell you what that is, and if you're not tuned and you have no idea what I'm talking about, definitely watch the video because this will give you an idea of what you might have to deal with and look out for if you are tuned. It's not simply get tuned and forget. There are things that you have to watch on the car. We are driving my 2022 WRX, which is e-tuned right now. I'm making a whole bunch of power, and yeah, we're just gonna chat about this one. So what is your dynamic advanced multiplier? It is something you should be watching if you are driving a tuned WRX, whatever year, right? You have to watch it with any year. I've tuned VAs, VBs, you name it. And what it really is, in very, very layman's terms, the dynamic advanced multiplier is a coefficient that tells you information about the general health of your running vehicle and engine, right? It is a coefficient that looks at a magnitude of different variables on the engine itself, how it's performing, and it can give you basically a generalized health check at any given time of how your car is operating. That's the best way to look at your dynamic advanced multiplier, or what you would shorten it as DAM. Quick interruption before we continue into the video. If you haven't already considered subscribing, this channel needs some love. I would appreciate it if you considered subscribing if you want more Subaru content, and liking the video if this adds some value to your day. Let's get back into the video. I'll see you guys in a second. Now, specifically on the Subaru WRX platform, you want your dynamic advanced multiplier. We're going to call it DAM from here on out. You want your DAM to be 1, right? You always want it to be 1. That is the coefficient of best performance, right? 1 is your standard. That is your WRX is running strong. It's perfect. Well, it may not be perfect, but it's running strong. You don't have, let's say, negative health happening in your car. Anyone that monitors it knows that there are times with a tuned vehicle where your dam will drop. If your dam's never dropped, likely your tuner has set basically safeties where you're not really being alerted to slight fluctuations. But these days, most tuners are making sure that you can read whether or not the dam drops, and they'll just tell you after they tune your vehicle, these are the instructions, this is how often you're gonna see your dam drop, these are the things that could cause it to drop, just so that if something is going wrong, you can at least monitor the situation. Now, how does your dam drop? What's gonna end up happening is you're gonna be driving your vehicle, and all of a sudden you're gonna start your car, or you're gonna notice your dam has gone down to like 0.8 in some coefficient, or 0.6. And every generation of WRX seems to have like these to the thousands a number that it goes to depending on the health, but it can adjust. But you're probably okay as long as your dam never drops below 0.5, 0.6. But here's what you need to do. It's all about how quickly your dam corrects, right? Cars have so many variables: fuel, air, altitude, temperature, exhaust gases, things you're driving by. There's so many variables that affect how your engine runs. And sometimes your engine just isn't running in the optimal conditions, and it can cause your dam to drop to no fault of your own, and it can mean your car is completely okay. So the thing that you need to do when your dam drops is monitor how long it takes to return to steady state of 1. Now, we're going to talk about a few things that you can do and tests and tricks to get it to go faster, just in case you don't have, like, let's say, an unhealthy engine, but you might have something like bad gas, which we will talk about. But the first thing that you need to know is that if your dam doesn't correct after a couple hours of driving, or maybe 4 or 5 hours of driving, and this is continuous driving, maybe over a couple days, you might need to do the first step of what you can do, which we'll talk about. But that's when your alarm bells should start going off to, ooh, I might actually have a problem. So it's all about the rebound time. More often than not, people find that in 24, 48 hours, it rebounds. If it keeps happening and that rebound time is that length and it's over and over and over again, you might need to reassess. But if your dam is dropping and it's coming back in 24, 48 hours, it's not a huge thing to be concerned about, especially if it's a one-off or, a couple times a year, nothing to be worried about. Your most common culprit is bad gas. The thing that can affect your dam more than anything else is bad fuel. Bad fuel will cause your engine to do all types of weird stuff. It will run and not normally, and it will set off all the, you know, kind of multipliers that feed into how the dam is calculated. So the first step you can do is if you have, you know, your dam drops, the first thing I always do, because it does happen to me, is I drive the car and I immediately, no matter how much gas is in the car, I top it off with, you know, the best fuel I can find. And that's typically the fuel that I normally go to. For me, that's Shell V-Power. And I put some in, I top it off, I drive a little bit more, I top it off. And I'm just trying to blend good gas into what could be bad gas. And I'm doing that as much as I possibly can. And I kid you not, like I'll drive an hour, put a little bit of gas in, drive an hour, put a little bit of gas in. And usually, if it is a gas problem, you will see your dam correct very quickly. Again, it depends on how much you're driving. Usually for me, this means it happens over about a day because I don't do a ton of driving. Now here's where it gets interesting. There are other things that can cause the dam to drop. So if this doesn't solve it, don't be worried just yet. But if it kind of continuously happens and it's not necessarily your gas causing it, it might be worth an email to your tuner. And if you're running an OTS tune, it might be a time to go reach out to a tuner, because the OTS tunes can't cover every situation. But with that said, you might have a bigger problem. And the whole thing with the OTS tune is you're not going to get custom individualized support. So this is the time to reach out to an e-tuner, which really isn't that expensive to do. So that's your easy playing field, right? You know, give it a day or two, lots of driving, replace your gas. Your fuel is going to cause 99% of people's dam drops. I mean, it's truly going to be the most common culprit, and it's going to happen. You might get bottom of the barrel fuel at even a good gas station. You might get just a bad batch of gas. You might get, you know, gas that has some type of mixing in it. Or if you're only putting, you know, a couple gallons of premium in, you might have some, you know, 89 in the hose and it's bad quality 89 or something. You never know. Gas is going to be your main culprit. But the short answer is, if it ever takes more than a couple hours of driving or a couple days for the dam to return, it's time to reach out to a tuner. And if the gas trick that I just talked about doesn't pretty much solve your problem, and it happens more than once and it doesn't solve the problem pretty repeatedly, and again, it's not going to be instant. It's still going to take that couple hours of driving, but you're going to see improvement. It's just a way to basically speed it up. You'll see it maybe a little bit faster. If that doesn't improve it, it's probably time for an email to your tuner to do full diagnostics. And that's basically it. It's not a huge cause for concern when your dam drops, right? You get to follow these steps and, you know, work through your gas, work through the dam coming back, and, you know, go from there. And if it takes longer, you got to reach out to a tuner, because there's nothing else that you're going to be able to do on your own. But that's it. I know that sounds pretty odd that I'm not making this big deal, but it's truly not. With the asterisks that it can be. It's not something to freak out about, but it is something to take seriously, but you don't have to rush into the process. It's something that you can diagnose and figure out, and it's not like, you know, your first step shouldn't be emailing your tuner. It should be doing a little bit of diagnostics on your own, questioning a little bit about your gas. Maybe it tells you something about the fuel quality that you're getting at a certain gas station. Maybe avoid it. And yeah, that's basically it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any other questions or have questions that are a little bit deeper into what you're looking out for, drop them in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.